In its quest to provide an open forum for discussion of controversial issues, this station allows hosts and their guests to express themselves without any significant censorship. You're advised that any views expressed by the hosts or their guests are not necessarily the views of Togi Entertainment or its partners.
Motherhood Incorporated proudly presents Military Mom Talk Radio live on TogiNet.com. Co-hosted by Robyn Boyd and Sandra Beck, the owner of Motherhood Incorporated. Military Mom Talk Radio is here with a powerful platform for women to discuss their ideas, issues, and concerns with respect to the military lifestyle. Military Mom Talk Radio encourages you to share your experiences of being a military wife and mother. This show is dedicated to educating your family about the many resources that are available in both the public and private sector, and we'll be sharing helpful information from women all over the world. We'll cover everything military, from helping a family member cope with post-traumatic stress disorder, to navigating government programs dealing with family issues, to the struggles of deployment, along with being a working mother both in and out of the home. This is Military Mom Talk Radio, and here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robyn Boyd.
Mamas, this is Sandra Beck, and we're here on Military Mom Talk Radio, and we have got an action-packed show today. We have not only Doris Rivas-Brecky, who brings us our military news you can use, my lovely co-host, Robyn Boyd, coming in from New Hampshire. We have Kathleen Smith, who is the Chief Marketing Officer for ClearedJobs.net, which is a very, very cool company, and they do a lot of recruiting in the security cleared community, so I'm sure you guys will want to hear all about that. We also have, Robyn Roche-Paull. She wrote a great book, an award-winning book called Breastfeeding in Combat Boots, which I just got to tell you, I loved the fact that she is an international board-certified lactation consultant, and girls, I used to call you guys lactation Nazis when I was in the hospital, but the fact that you're a U.S. Navy veteran and writing about this, I just think is really, really cool, and I'm so glad she's going to be on third segment in the show. Then we're going to round out today's show with Jeff Senour of the Freedom Rock Experience. We're going to play a little bit of his music. We're going to talk about Snowball Express. We're going to talk about lots of things. What do you think, guys? You ready for a new show?
Wow, yeah. I'm so psyched. This is awesome, Sandra.
You know, Robyn, the fact that I even got here today, what did we have today while we were on the phone prepping for the show? My one kid ate a Super Ball, bit it in half, swallowed the other half, we hope not whole, and the next one ran in with a pair of pinking shears wanting to cut his brother's shirt. So we have a mess in Maple Leaf Garden over here, so I'm just going to go right over to you. Do you have any news we can use? Do you have anything you want to bring up?
No, I'm anxious to talk to Doris today. You know, I think our Doris Rivas-Brecky's person on the street is just one of the highlights of our show, because, Doris, you just find the most interesting things to talk about. How are you down there?
I'm good, except in sunny California, we are actually having rain.
Oh, wow.
We are?
We've got a cold...
We're so
I have to look out the window.
Here. Mm.
Oh, I got sunshine.
No, it's raining here in beautiful San Diego. So
wow,
I know, hard to believe, but yes, I do have some news that hopefully we can use. Do I get to say it now?
Yep,
go
rock
for
on.
it.
Okay. Anyway, here's some good stuff again from my good buddies at ABC World News. Some exciting information. Men and women are living longer. Life expectancy has gone up 2+ years since the year 2000.
Really?
Yes. I know. That's why I had to say it, because you would think with all the, bad things that are happening these days that maybe it would start going down, but nope. Men are living to the age of 76.2 years. Don't ask me about the 0.2. And women are living 1.1. And they said the reasons are better nutrition. Yes, I know. I went, really? And we're being aware conscious. So
how many years for women? 81.1?
81.1, yeah.
81.1. Oh, good Lord, Robyn and Doris. I got another 41 years to walk this planet.
Well, at least you got 40. I only got like 20-something. So.
Doris, repeat the second reason why you said better nutrition, and then I think your phone cut out just a tad. What was the second reason?
We're more health-aware conscious.
It's true. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It is true.
But how does eating Super Bowls fit into that?
I knew you were going to come in with something like that, so that's why I had to bring up this report. And then on a different note, this also I thought was interesting because it had to do with women. Some research on sleep-deprived people, women.
Yeah, that would be me.
Sandra,
Check.
yes.
Check.
That's why I had to do this. Most of us hear about sleep apnea and the problem with men. But in this particular study, they found that 1 in 25 middle-aged women have sleep apnea, but are not being diagnosed because women do not necessarily have the snore symptom. I know. So what do we need to look for? Okay, if you have any, if you are sleep-deprived, if you have irregular breathing, you're aware that you have irregular breathing, you have dry mouth. They said talk to your doctor, tell him that maybe you think you might be suffering from sleep apnea so that he can run some tests, and just maybe you might need that breathing mask that maybe you've seen that men wear, on the news to help them breathe. Women are starting to wear that also. So I thought that was really an interesting study, especially because I know Sandra doesn't get very much sleep. But
I find now that, like, every time I sit down, if I don't get up within 15 or 20 minutes, if I'm not at my office desk, I do fall asleep. And I think that's one of the signs of sleep deprivation.
Yeah, I mean,
I was going to say, I think sleep apnea versus sleep deprivation, that's a real hard line for any woman or any mom to try to discern. Because we're all sleep deprived.
Right.
I mean, if I get 5 hours, I think that I've had, I've overslept. So, I mean, we are all running the burning the candle at both ends, I think, sometimes. And that's really hard for us to admit to, isn't it?
It is, and I think that's why, again, the study was really significant for me to bring up, especially for women, military moms out there. Mm-hmm. They're running ragged. So, and then just to end my segment, I'm sure everybody's aware that today is Martin Luther King Day, and I had a really nice quote that was in my email box that I wanted to share that I just think that we need to hear it again. And it was that one that goes, I have a dream that one day the nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of this creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Words for us to think about, don't you think, Sandra, with this election year coming up, Robyn?
Absolutely, absolutely. What I would like it to be men and women. I'm just going to throw that in there.
I almost did it, and then I thought, nope, I better not. But thank you for doing that.
If it's a quote, we have to say it the way it was originally stated. So.
And I had a feeling Robyn would say that.
Yep. So you girls, what do you think about bringing on, we've got a song to play, a portion of a song to play. That way we could have a little more time to talk to Jeff Senour of Freedom Rock Experience. What do you think we play a clip from his music right now?
Yeah, we have from his album called No Turning Back, we have a quick clip from the song called My House. And one of the things that we'll talk a little bit more about is not only Jeff's tour, and all of the things that he's having at his Freedom Rock experiences, but a little bit more about him and how he got there. So let's listen to a little bit of My House.
Live in fairy tales, some in comic books, but real heroes come along in places we don't look. You open so many eyes.
correction there because we played the other track first. We heard Snowball Express. And on the other side of the break, we're going to be talking with Kathleen Smith and Robyn Roche-Paull. And later on in the show, we'll get the My House song, a little clip of that, right here on Motherhood Talk. I did it, Sandra.
You did it, huh? I sit here and go, I've done it so many times, and you've broken your perfect record.
We've all done it. When you're on two shows, that's what happens. We're on Military Mom Talk Radio, and we're having a great time. We'll talk to you after the break. Oh, are we only at 1 minute? I thought we were at 30 seconds. Oh, my gosh.
You know, it's the three guests today. It's really putting everybody over the hump, I think.
I think so. I saw 30 seconds in the chat, so I thought that's where we were at. So we will, one of the things about Jeff Senior's band is that it is just so pumped. I have a copy of his album right here, and I got to tell you, I've been rocking out over here, just really enjoying his music so much. And one of the things I think that he'll talk a little bit more about is how he integrates high school musicians from around the country to perform with his Consider the Source band. It's just so awesome. So I really can't wait for everybody to check him out on YouTube and check us out on iTunes. Check us out at Military Mom Talk Radio. And right here on the good old TogiNet channel, you'll find our page and lots of our podcasts. We'll be back after the break.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robyn Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Get ready to laugh along with This Little Parent Stayed Home with Allie Lopreet. Friday evenings at 6, 5 Central on TogiNet.com. This is a truly realistic, no-nonsense, tell-it-like-it-is method that will have you laughing and crying, surviving while struggling, and hammering away at the hardships as you travel through the greatest journey of your life. Get empowered by joining thousands of other parents who have also decided to take a leap of faith into a double career with longer hours and half the pay simply because of the love they have for their children. Together, we are rebuilding a new economy that will support us rather than enslave us. Never again will we have to choose between raising our children and earning to provide for them. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. For more on Allie and her success, check out her website, OurMilkMoney.com. So come get empowered with This Little Parent Stayed Home with Allie Lopreet. Friday afternoons at 6, 5 Central on TogiNet.com.
Y'all wave your hands. Look who's on. It's Dakota Man Keith, and he's number one. Now you might think Juan's youth was sad, right? Cause he had a deaf, dear mommy and dad. Right. But that ain't the case. Nope. It wasn't his fate. Nope. The Juans never struggled to communicate. Ha. Y'all wave your hands. Look who's on. It's Dakota Man Keith, and he's number one.
It's That Keith Wan Show on TogiNet.com, Wednesday nights at 8, 7 Central. Every week, That Keith Wan Show will have guests that share their experiences, expertise, opinions, and personal lives with us to hopefully help us better understand others. The topics and guests will come from the American Sign Language community. For more on Keith Wan and the show, go to his website, KeithWan.com. Listen with an open mind and willingness to learn and help with the cultural bridge.
Number one, Keith's number one. Everybody clap cause Dakota Man's on. Number one, Keith's number one. Everybody clap cause Dakota Man's on.
Don't miss That Keith Wan Show. Wednesday nights at 8, 7 Central on TogiNet.com.
Put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robyn Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robyn Boyd, my lovely co-host, who just always makes me smile. I love to be on the air with you every week, Robyn. And just
oh, I love you. Oh, we just always just kind of pick each other up, Sandra, don't we?
Isn't it though? And Doris, I want to thank you for that, teeth-rattling military minute with the 41 years or 21, depending on what the clock is ticking. How long we have to walk this planet, according to the to ABC News, which we know is closer to God than anyone else. So we're going to go with ABC News as our chief source of how long we're going to live.
They should pay us.
They should. Well, we've got great guests today. We're going to start out the show with Kathleen Smith of Cleared Jobs. Then we're going to go over to Robyn Roche-Paull for her Breastfeeding in Combat Boots books. And then we're going to round out the end of the show with Jeff Senour of the Freedom Rock Experience. So stay tuned and keep on with us because we got a lot to cover. First, I'd like to welcome to the show Kathleen Smith. She's the Chief Marketing Officer of Cleared Jobs. And Cleared Jobs is a veteran-owned organization, isn't it, Kathleen?
Yes, it is.
So there are lots of different job fair companies out there. Yours is veteran-owned, so how does that make a difference to the community?
What's interesting is that, as you said, there are a lot of job fair companies out there. There are a lot of job board companies out there. And many try to provide jobs to various different industries. What's interesting about clearjobs.net is we only focus within the security cleared community. So only people who have security clearances who are looking for a job, and those employers, cleared facilities employers, who are looking for people with security clearances, those are the two groups of people who are on our job board. But this is a community that really is extremely competitive. And what I've really enjoyed about clearjobs.net being a veteran-owned business is, we have some Marines who founded this business, and they yell at us a lot, and they really drive us hard. But they also have a real high sense of integrity and respect and honesty that they imbibe in our business. There are a lot of times where we could cut corners. There are a lot of times when we could make one decision or another, but we're always taking the one that really treats our customers with respect. We really want to be able to smile at the end of the day and know that we've done a good job. And this is my first time actually working for a veteran-owned company, and I really noticed the difference between that and other maybe Fortune 500 companies that I've worked for, where people are always trying to cut corners or they're trying to really make a buck quickly, where this is a company that really says, we are going to respect the community that we're in and the people that we serve.
Well, and you're serving your brothers and sisters, too. And for you, Kathleen, you're a military spouse.
Yes, I am.
So that gives you kind of, the insider skinny on some of this stuff.
Well, it is, and fortunately, my husband's not deployed now, and he's not serving anymore. But he still serves in many different ways. But it really does give me a true appreciation when I'm speaking to someone who is trying to help their brother, their sister, their spouse, their son, their daughter through the process. I understand what they're trying to do, and I understand that they are balancing a lot of different responsibilities all at the same time. So I really need to make things as clear-cut and as easy as possible for them. And there are also a lot of things that I need to explain to the employers, because we have so many employers who want to hire military personnel, but they just aren't familiar with the strains and stresses that go on within the family that are at home serving. And I think that, once I have an opportunity to sit down and explain to them, you need to take the extra time, you need to take the extra step when you're going through the interview process to really understand the full family effect that the military is having on this family, and you really need to make some extra concessions when you're trying to explain to them sort of the job and what it entails. And I know that many of our customers who are the employers really appreciate that, because they don't get that kind of insight when they work with other companies.
Well, and I wanted to ask.
Oh, go ahead, Robyn.
Sorry. Well, I was going to ask. I just wanted to clarify. Do you act as an agent or a recruiter, or do you act as a liaison for the companies that are hiring and the job seeker?
We're actually not an agent. We're not a recruiting agent. We're actually more of what's considered an advertiser. We work with cleared facilities employers who are interested in hiring people with security clearances, and many of our military personnel do have security clearances. And what we do is we sell advertising on our job board for them to advertise their jobs. We produce a cleared job fair once a month where the employers can come in and talk to job seekers. But knowing that there is so much of confusion out there about trying to find a job, and especially when so many military are trying to transition into private industry, we have really taken it upon ourselves to make a lot of resources available. So we have a YouTube channel with over 85 videos explaining the whole process, how to write a resume, how to interview. We have our Twitter channels, we have our Facebook, we have our SlideShare. We have a variety of resources because finding a job is very difficult and it is very challenging, and it is a process that is very different for everyone. So we realized once we got into the business, we realized that we needed to provide a lot of resources out there, and that's what we've become, is more of a resource for people trying to find a job.
There's an awful lot of people in not only currently getting out of the service, but what about veterans who may be older veterans, or are there resources for them as well? I don't mean old, but you know what I mean.
Like
who've been out of the service for a while.
Out of the service for a while. Well, we've made all of our resources free and available on all social media. So there is no charge for any person to use any of our resources that are out there explaining the job search process. To be able to look at the jobs on the job board, you do have to have a current or active security clearance at this time. So that might, there may be some veterans whose security clearance has lapsed and they may not be able to apply for a job. But certainly anyone can use some extra education, some extra resources, maybe a different viewpoint on how to write a resume or look at the resources. So we've made those free and available all over the web.
Well, and do you help both ways? Because I know, like, a bunch of my guys from Pendleton, the Marines, they went and they were working for Pepsi, and that was good. And, there were a couple other, this one healthcare organization that I'm not going to name, swooped up and took like 20 of them in one fell swoop, and it was a disaster because the employer wasn't used to working with military personnel. It goes both ways. When you're transitioning, the company's got to be either military friendly or educated on how to be military friendly to get the best out of their employees. But there's also that transitional education that goes on behalf of the military personnel looking to get the civilian job. How do you balance between the two of those?
It is really hard. I think within the defense and intelligence community, since so many military personnel have moved over into those communities and into those companies, there is a lot more familiarity with the culture because there ends up being sort of a military culture within a defense and intelligence company. There's also many of the companies have set up what's called onboarding, and they really set up a mentoring program where, someone comes in and then they put out word and said, we have someone who's starting and we'd like to provide a mentor. So going through that first year of transition. But I don't see that many companies who are in the more civilian space who have as many mentoring or onboarding kind of programs that go on. And I think that that's something that military personnel really have to look at when they're looking at their next job. They need to understand it is going to be a different culture. And is this something that they're comfortable with, or what can they do to re-educate themselves? Because I think that sometimes we don't do our own education as far as moving to the next step as saying, what are all the questions I need to ask? Too many times questions are...
Oh, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off, but I was wondering, what do you think are the big three mistakes that recruits make when they're looking for a job? When they come out of the military, they're ready to get a civilian job. You said educating yourself is really important, but what do you think are the big three?
I think the big three are having too narrow of a focus. too many times when people are transitioning out of the military, they know what their job was when they were in the military, and they don't look at all of the skills that they had and being able to apply those to different kinds of jobs. I think the second one is too many times I've talked to people who are to men and women who are transitioning out, and they've given themselves 6 to 8 weeks to prepare for the transition, and they really need to be preparing a year out. They need to be really thinking about what their family wants, what do they want, starting their networking, really being connected on LinkedIn and Facebook even before they transition out, connecting with all of the supervisors and people that they've worked with when they were in, and then really looking at it very holistically. Too many times the biggest mistake is, well, I sent out resumes. Why haven't I found a job? Well, it's an integrated process. There's many different levels. You have to look at job boards, you have to look at company websites, you really have to look at many different types of resume, you need to look at networking, referrals, and this is not something that just happens when you're transitioning once. You're going to be transitioning quite a few times. Some of the statistics are that 80% of the people who have transitioned out of the military move within the first year of being out of the military because they didn't make the right choice. In their first
Kathleen,
job.
we're going to wrap up this answer just after the break because we've only got 15 seconds before we're going to have a commercial break, and we want to make sure that we let everybody know to find you at clearedjobs.net. That's CLEAREDJOBS.net. We'll be back after the break.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robyn Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Have you been laid off, fired, downsized, right-sized, or re-engineered out of a job? Are you unemployed or anticipate that possibility? Then tune in for Successfully Unemployed, hosted by Alan Sherwood, MBA, president of Sherwood Consulting Service. Successfully Unemployed will provide you a hope-filled and comprehensive approach to the job search process from an author who's experienced it all. Alan and his guests will cover all dimensions of a job search: physical tasks, mental attitude, emotional health, even one's spiritual perspective. All must be integrated in order for a person to be successfully unemployed so they can then be successfully employed. This show is designed to help you move forward from job loss to finding or creating more fulfilling work. For more on Alan Sherwood, MBA, and the show, check out his website, successfullyunemployed.com. Then join us for Successfully Unemployed with Alan Sherwood, MBA. Thursday nights at 8, 7 Central here on TogiNet.com. In today's business world, a helping hand or idea that doesn't come with an invoice is a treasured find. And if that happens to you, then you need to pay it forward to keep other entrepreneurs from making mistakes or getting a raw deal. It's called Paying It Forward with Josephine Girassi, Wednesday mornings at 10, 9 a.m. Central. Josephine is going to have the guests describe their accomplishments, the lessons they've learned, both good and bad, and then sharing those pieces of knowledge as we create a movement of paying it forward. For more information about Josephine, her business, and background, you can go to mymomknowsbest.com. Josephine Girassi has always been a problem solver. She saw this need and has turned it into a movement. It's Paying It Forward with tips, tools, and advice and hard lessons learned. These pieces of knowledge can make a huge difference for you, your business, and others. So join us for Paying It Forward with Josephine Girassi, Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com, covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robyn Boyd.
Hey, military moms, thanks for joining us today, where we have Kathleen Smith of clearedjobs.net. We're learning all about the do's and don'ts and the best practices for transitioning from military service into civilian work. We also have Robyn Roche-Paull, Breastfeeding in Combat Boots, coming up, and Jeff Senour of the Freedom Rock Experience will round out our show today. We've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to go right over to Kathleen Smith, and I'd like you to reiterate for our listeners who might not have heard the first segment and who are joining us right now, or those of us that need a recap like me whose brain isn't working so good today. I'd like to know the top 3 things that military personnel, the top 3 mistakes they make when transitioning from military service to civilian work.
The top 3 mistakes that I have seen over the last 9 years has been, 1, too narrow of a focus as far as the type of job they were looking for when they transitioned out. The second is not being very holistic or integrated in their job search. So they just send out resumes or they just answer a job on a job board. They really need to look at job fairs, referrals, social media, networking, looking at the whole gamut, because it's going to take multi-layers. And the third is not putting enough time into this. Too many times this is the thought about the career after you separate is left until a month or 2 before the separation date, rather than looking a year ahead of time so that you can really talk to your family. What does your family want to do? You really have time to do your own introspection as to what are you really good at and what are you going to succeed at, and then being able to lay the network and connect with all the people you're working with now and being able to maintain that network once you separate.
Kathleen, I want to thank you for being our guest today. We're definitely going to have you back on the show in the future. You've given us a lot of great information. Your website to learn more about Kathleen and to learn more about clearedjobs.net, head to www.clearedjobs.net. Our guest was Kathleen Smith, the Chief Marketing Officer. And those 81 videos, man, you guys need to check them out on YouTube because that information is up there, out there. All you have to do is sit and watch, learn as much as you can, because that arms you better for the job you need to do, which is get a job in the civilian marketplace. We're going to welcome to the show right now Robyn Roche-Paull, and she wrote a great book. I can't look at the cover, you guys, and not smile, because there's combat boots on there, Breastfeeding in Combat Boots. She is international board-certified lactation consultant and a U.S. Navy veteran, which I just can't think of a better combination for somebody to write this book.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
So, Robyn, how do you come up with Breastfeeding in Combat Boots?
Well, I wanted to be holistic to follow up with Kathleen and cover all of the branches of the military, so it popped into my head, hey, we all wear boots of some sort, so let's go with the Breastfeeding in Combat Boots. And, you know, I put it out there, and friends and veterans said, that's a fantastic title. So that's where we went with that, and then, you know, a great graphic artist to come up with the cover for me.
That's awesome.
It's definitely eye-catching.
Yes, which was my plan.
So why breastfeed? Like when you're in the military, I mean, breastfeeding for me was a nightmare. I had the uniboob. Only one of them worked. So it was already, you know, difficult in the trenches, and all I had to do was go home.
Right. I think probably the biggest reason that moms in the military should and can breastfeed, because it's obviously possible, I did it, and I've worked with plenty of moms that do it, is you're separated so much when you're in the military, and when you're breastfeeding, and you're putting up with all of the difficulty of having to pump while you're at work, you get to come home to that and snuggle and have your little one, you know, nursing from you, and you know that you're giving them that milk and that love, and just having done it and having them look up at you and give you that milky grin, there's nothing like it in the world. And you know that you've done this, you've produced this is something, my baby's growing on this, and it's all coming from me. And just having that wonderful bond there, when you do know that you have to be separated so much, it really helps keep you so close when you're gone for 12 hours a day or more.
Is the Navy or the military being more accepting of letting mothers have this time? I mean, obviously you would need to, if you've got a fairly newborn, you're going to need to take a little time off the job frequently during the day, right?
Well, all moms get 6 weeks of what they call convalescent leave after the baby is born, where they're off altogether. They don't have to come in at all. But then once that 6 weeks is over, they're back on full-time duty. The average mother for an average 8 to 12-hour day needs to pump at least 3 times. So if she can fit in a mid-morning pumping and a lunch break and then a mid-afternoon, now if she's got a 12-hour shift, she'll want to throw another one in there probably towards the evening, 5, 6 o'clock. That's enough to keep her supply up for most moms during the day. And then she, when she's home, of course, with the baby on her off hours and the weekends, let the baby nurse as often as they want to. And many moms are successful with that schedule, and that seems to work. It also depends on what branch of service you're in. The Navy has a fantastic policy. The Army does not have a policy at all. So it also kind of depends, like I said, on what branch of service you're in.
Yeah. And obviously how critical your position is, I'm sure.
And how critical your position is. Moms that are being sent off to Afghanistan and they're in a combat position maybe aren't going to be able to do this as well if they're running like convoys versus the mom that's working a desk job, basically. It also depends on whether she's an officer or she's enlisted. Officers have more control over their schedule. They're in charge. They can tell somebody, hey, I need to go pump. The enlisted person has to say, can I go pump? Big difference, big difference there. And I came from the enlisted ranks, so I know what it's like to have to look up to somebody and go, can I pump? And have them say, no, you can't. The airplane needs to be fixed. And that's that. Yeah. So there's a lot to it. It's not just, oh, I have a job, yeah, I need to pump. I have a whole chapter on hazardous materials in the book because you have moms that are working with hazardous materials. Is it safe for them to be giving that milk to their baby when they've been drenched in hydraulic fluid or they're exposed to JP5 fumes all the time? We don't have a lot of answers to those kinds of questions. So that's the kind of thing where I needed to find that and write it down because these moms don't know that and they don't know where to find it.
What a good study that would be, though.
Yes, and someday I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Well, no, you talk about, I want to say something funny here, and then I'll shut up, but you talk about, breastfeeding in hazmat places. I can tell you, I worked in Beverly Hills, and the place in the building that was set aside for breast pumping was so horrible. I wouldn't even go in there. I preferred going to the executive washroom rather than going to the pump room. But it's a really big concern about when you're pumping, where you're doing, what you're wearing, what you're exposed to. But I have a good question for you. The new breastfeeding policy for federal workers, how does that apply to the military?
Yeah, it doesn't apply to the military. And I know you're going to say, but they're federal workers. Yeah, they are federal workers, but the military is in and unto itself. It's like a sovereign nation. They have their own judicial system. They have their own rules, laws, regulations, and policies. And that new federal law, the military doesn't fall under that. It doesn't apply. So they have their own policies. And as I said, the Navy has an excellent one. They offer 12 months of deferment from deployment. Now, that doesn't mean they don't have to go to work. They have to go to work, but they're deferred from deploying out on board ship and having to be gone for 6 months, 9 months, whatever, the ship is going to be gone for. The Air Force has 6 months. The Army has 6 months. So those policies are in place. The Coast Guard is similar, and the Marines as well. But as for any other kind of policy that states exactly how much time you're allowed to have off the pump during the day, that varies from branch to branch. The Navy is very clear with you're given these amounts of time and this frequent, whereas the Army doesn't say anything. They're just like, well, talk to your supervisor about it. Well, that's not really helpful if you don't have the actual guidance that says, hey, I'm supposed to have 3 breaks of 20 minutes apiece.
Well, yeah, and you know, the other thing is we've got 1 out of 5 service members currently in this war are women.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
You know, for the first time in history, we have a 20% rate of female employment in our military. So, you know, they all got breasts, and some of them got to feed kids. This is something the
And I just
Army
remember
needs
the
to
days
answer.
of soaking through, too. You just have those days, and I just really commend people for wanting to give this gift to their babies. I did. It was one of the most wonderful things for my children as far as giving them a healthy start. Before we finish up with you, Robyn, we're going to go to break, and we're going to have the clip that we thought we were going to have at the beginning of the show. We're going to listen to a little bit of CTS. We're going to listen to My House, and we'll check in with Jeff on the other side of the break.
All right.
Remember, whatever, I'll always be wherever you are. I love you forever. I'll be inside your heart, where dreams collide into the stars. Come on into my house, where we can be who we are. Come on into my
That's Jeff Senour's band Rock Experience, the Freedom Rock Experience, and it's CTS. I'm sorry, Jeff. We're going to be back on the other side of the break to wrap up with Robyn Roche-Paull, the author of Breastfeeding in Combat Boots, and we're going to hear the voice of Jeff Senour, who we've been listening to all throughout the show, right on Military Mom Talk Radio.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robyn Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Connect with Juliana and connect with what lies beneath. Friday afternoons at 4, 3 Central on TogiNet.com. Juliana is a marriage, family, and child therapist who wants people to connect. Connect with what lies beneath, those truths and answers. And through her counseling practice, she has helped others find their personal power and fulfill their dreams. And she wants to do the same for you. Here on Connect with Juliana. Through intimate discussions, intriguing subject matters, and the expertise of her guests. For more on the show and Juliana, check out her webpage, connectwithjuliana.inmedia.com. Juliana will cover it all. Nothing is off limits. She wants to know what matters to you. Make the connection. Tune in to TogiNet to connect with Juliana to find out the facts that could be hidden beneath the surface. Connect with Juliana on TogiNet to make a quality connection in your life. Friday afternoons at 4, 3 Central on TogiNet.com. Get ready to live La Bella Vita with Dawn Catherine on TogiNet.com. Live La Bella Vita. If you're wanting to know all the beauty tricks of the trade and the latest fashion trends before everyone else, this is your show. If you admire celebrities' beauty and their fashion sense, this is your show. Do you love wine and want to know more about the process it takes to make wine from the vine to the bottle? This is your show. Live La Bella Vita. For more on the show and your host, check out our website, labellavitacosmetico.com. This is the kind of show you can sink your teeth into. If you enjoy traveling and food and family, all with an Italian flair, then you can live La Bella Vita with your host, Dawn Catherine. Wednesday nights at midnight, 11 p.m. Central, on TogiNet.com.
Put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robyn Boyd.
Hi, moms. We are here today on Military Mom Talk Radio with author Robyn Roche-Paull. She wrote this great book. You should buy it just to look at the cover because it tickles me pink. Breastfeeding in Combat Boots. It's got a lot of great information. It's available at Amazon.com for the Kindle and hard copy. It's also available at Barnes & Noble, also for the Nook. You can get an autographed copy, which I have and I love. It's in our showcase right now at her website, www.breastfeedingincombatboots.com, all one word. Now, you had something you wanted to add, my Robyn. I've got stereo Robins. We've got Robyn the author, Robyn the host. Let's go to Robyn the host.
Oh, did you ask me something? No.
I guess not. I don't know. Wasn't there some reason? Robyn, author Robyn. Oh, this is going to drive me crazy. Is there any last piece of advice you'd like to give our military moms who are listening today or our moms of military moms who are breastfeeding before we bring on Jeff Senour? Did we lose Robyn?
Oh, dear, I think we might have.
I think we might have.
Oh, gee, that's too bad. Because I just have to say, this woman is just so amazing, and I hope everybody goes to her website, breastfeedingincombatboots.com. You can also find her on Facebook, and you can find her on Twitter. Her Twitter name, by the way, is BFNCB. So you want to definitely just double-check her there. What an amazing woman. And she was an aircraft mechanic on FA-18 Hornets. Isn't that awesome?
I love that. You know what I love even more, Robyn? I've been communicating with her, and I thought it was beef and chib. I'm like, God, what is beef and chib? What's a beef and chib? And then you're like, breastfeeding in combat boots. I've earned my wings.
It's wonderful. She's awesome. And you know who else is awesome? We've got Jeff Senour. Let's say hi to Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
We've been playing your music and rocking out during the show.
I've been listening.
And you've got to be smiling being in the middle of breastfeeding discussions, huh?
That's a very hard show to follow. I was listening to that, getting very educated.
Oh, gosh.
But Kathleen Robyn is, well, they both did a great job, but it's pretty amazing what Robyn does. But it was very interesting.
It is. We are so blessed to have such interesting people on the show. And now you got a lot going on for you. There's charity things going on here. You've got Freedom Rock Experience. You've got CTS, Consider the Source. You got to unwrap all this for all of us and let us know what you do.
Well, I'm Jeff Senour. I grew up in Southern California, learned to fly airplanes, and I've always been in music. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I formed the rock band CTS about 8 years ago. And about 3 years ago, I was at my daughter's orchestra recital. She plays violin, and got this wild idea that, wow, wouldn't it be cool to integrate high school musicians, our youth, in our concerts to inspire them to live the American dream. And we had already been entrenched pretty deeply with veteran events and honoring our veterans and doing all kinds of events. I'll get maybe later into the charities that we're involved with. But and I thought, how cool it would be to have a concert that honors the American hero, our veterans, our police, our firefighters, and our teachers, and then have youth integrate with us and perform with us to inspire them to live their dreams. And that's where Freedom Rock Experience, the idea, the seed was planted.
That's so cool. Jeff, how do you go about finding these young people to perform with you? Do you just say, okay, Tucson, Arizona, I'm coming to your town in 3 weeks, let's get together? Or how do you go about it?
We're actually starting to do, we performed last year at Fort Hood, Texas for the Patriot Guard Rider National Rally, and we headlined their show. out there. They're a group of 200,000 strong motorcyclists, pretty much that are all, most of them are veterans, not all, but they protect our military funerals from the protesters that have been on the news, and so we headlined their show, and when we did that show, we just went to the local high school there at Fort Hood, Harker Heights High, and said, hey, here's what we're doing. We've got the music scored, and the teachers just jump on it. I mean, it's such a feel-good family type of event, and to plug these kids in on stage with a rock band, they just light up. And the really deeper part of it to me is it opens up the door for me to go into the classroom and talk to them about living the American dream and what, that we live in the most amazing country on earth, and we're blessed, and we are blessed for a reason, and our veterans, we owe everything and a thanks to them for providing this freedom that we have here. And with that freedom comes the opportunity to all of us, including these young people, to go live their dreams. Whatever it is you want to do, go achieve. But you know what? Along the way, you might fall down. But you pick yourself back up and don't ever give up. And if you believe in yourself, you will achieve whatever it is you want. And that's kind of what the Freedom Rock Experience has become. And so we can pretty much call any school we want, and they're pretty open to, once we explain what we do, they're pretty on to what we're up to and get on board.
So
That's
Jeff,
wonderful that you do that.
What are some of the goals for you in the next couple of years with your music? I mean, you've got so much going on, and yet you're a pilot in your day job.
I am.
I don't know how you do it.
Well, I have an understanding family, and I have I just my day job is I call it my part-time day job. I fly 3 days a week for a major airline, and then I've got plenty of time off. I'm like a fireman. I've got lots of time, and my real passion is my music. Because it touches people in a way that I can't touch people, just on my own. And so my goals for the next couple of years truly are to my dream and my goal. We all have dreams all the time, and they're constantly changing, but I truly want to be out around the country performing in cities all over the country with different high schools, inspiring millions of people out there. My dream is to be going into the classrooms and talking to these kids and then plugging them in on stage for a concert and having their families and the people come, and that's my way of trying to make a difference out there, I guess.
I think it's wonderful to have that sort of musician in residence. Some of my family are involved with a theater group, and they do a theater in residence with the high schoolers. Just so empowering for those kids to have that much input. It's all well and good to have somebody come and lecture you, but when they become a part of it, that's a whole different ball game. So that's wonderful that you bring that entity to them.
It's a lot of fun. The parents have fun. The band, our band, I've got an amazing group of guys in the band.
I can see that.
Joe McGinnity on drums. He's been with me 5 years. I've got Paul Udenia on bass. Paul is a singer-songwriter in his own right. He's an absolute animal on bass. He's just amazing on stage, and he sings. And then we've got Jerry Newsom on keyboards, and he's a singer-songwriter himself, and he sings and plays keyboards. And Tony, we call him Tony. It's Tony Lugo, the Flying Hawaiian. The guy is just was put here to play guitar. He's just phenomenal to watch, and he's just he's a Vietnam vet. He was first Cav in Vietnam, but his true gift in life was to play guitar. And so this lineup that's surrounding me when we do play out is I feel very honored to have these guys, and and we have a blast, and the kids have fun.
How the moms have fun. You guys are all cute. I'm looking at the pictures going, wow, there's some eye candy up there. You guys are good musicians, a good cause. How could you not fall in love on sight?
Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
And we got to tell everybody to go to your YouTube channel, because CTS Music is your YouTube channel, and that's C as in Charlie, T as in Tango, S as in Sam, music.com. It's just wonderful. And if you can get your hands from the website on one of their albums, and the one that we listened to today was No Turning Back. Great album, Jeff, and great cause.
And great range. Like, you go from like Def Leppard to like country. I mean, it's like there's so much range that you guys do. That's what I really enjoyed.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we tried to make the album something that it wasn't just the same sound in each song, and we had an amazing producer, Otto Dagnolo, who's here in Phoenix. He's a platinum record producer, and those guys are amazing. I mean, they take what I thought was good music to start with, and they just take it a couple of notches up with producing it. So we're pretty proud of it. We can't wait to do more. We're getting ready to record. I'm actually going to re-release Snowball Express here very soon, and we are adding a choir and a symphony to the song that's already on the album. Oh, my gosh. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I just put a Mountain View High School choir on there. They sounded amazing. And
Jeff, we're going to have to send everybody to your YouTube channel so that they can get a taste of it. Jeff Senour, thank you for exposing us and being an enabler of all of us to appreciate all of the heroes in our lives, in our country.
Thank you.
We appreciate all that you're doing to bring that to life. Thank you. And again, it's ctsmusic.com. We want to again thank Kathleen Smith from clearedjobs.net. Be sure you go visit her there. And we certainly want to give a big thank you to Robyn Roche-Paull, who is the author of Breastfeeding in Combat Boots. And if you add a .com to that, that'll be her website. You'll find her there. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week. We'll look forward to next week seeing you on Military Mom Talk Radio. Bye, everyone.